Miss Juarez, and I'm so excited because today we have a really cool lesson on something that we have been working on, which is our short term and long term health goals. And and start to really distinguish the difference between the both of them and start by making some of those goals. All up for fifth grade. Standards that they job is work cooperatively and productively in a group. That's going to be from the little game that we're going to play, and I'll show you that next. And our next one is set personal goals for improving health-related fitness. The first one, which is in bold, because that's the first thing we're going to be doing. That is what we're going to be doing in our game. Students will be able to communicate effectively with their group to demonstrate the task given. And our next one that we'll hit on later is students will be able to distinguish the difference between and set long-term and short-term goals. So that student learning outcome has been one that we have been working with for some time. Play is silent learning. So you will be split into groups of 6 to 7, depending on our class size. I will be splitting you, and you are going to line up based off what is called out by the teacher. For example, if I said, and I would order of birth month, that means you have to line up. So whoever's birthday is in January would be first. If there's no birthdays in January and February, all the way to December, and you would line up in that order. If there's two people whose birthday is in April, then you would need to figure out whose birthday is first. How? Completely silently. So you have to find a way to work this sequence without saying anything at all. Okay, and I don't want you writing anything down either, so I just want you guys to try to communicate using your hands and gestures and talking with each other, but not talking verbally. When you are lined up in the correct order, you must give everyone in your group, so you have to check to make sure your whole group is doing the right thing, a thumbs up, 2 thumbs up, so that I know and I can check the order that you're in. Teacher mode into explaining my lesson mode. I would probably do the first one is a really good one too, is first one. Would be a great one. Just to kind of get them started, I can really figure that out. Also, how many siblings you have. Your birth order. Oldest. Is your favorite color of the rainbow and lining up in that Roy G. Biv order. So those are some that we would use, and those would hit that first learning outcome about working collaboratively in a group. And this is just a really smaller way, but to really get them up and moving and active while also working in a group and learning to work in a group, maybe not communicating in the ways that they used to. Teacher mode. The next part of our lesson is about short and long-term physical fitness goals. This would be based off things that we have been doing. This would kind of be a lead up to that. Just a couple lessons maybe on what they are. So we're just going to touch over what those things are. Because I highlighted the one that we are going to be working on again, and that is students will be able to distinguish. That word means that you are going to be able to tell and figure out. So if I am going to be able to, let me think of a sentence with the word. You have to distinguish the difference between this picture and this picture on those pictures where there's like a couple things that are different. So can you distinguish the difference between those? So you'll be able to distinguish the difference. So you're going to be able to figure out and say what's the difference between physical fitness goals and also long-term and short-term physical fitness goals. Short-term goals is a short-term goal is something that you wish to accomplish and just to be able to get done in the near future. goals that you could achieve maybe today or this week, this month, or in the next 6 months. And short-term goals can also long-term goals. So it's like, I really like this example because it was a fitness goal. It's like running at a 2-level speed on a treadmill to reach a 6-level speed eventually. So if my goal is to be able to run at a 6-level speed on a treadmill, that means that the number is at 6 and that's how fast it's moving. My short-term goal might be like, right now, I need to be running at a 2 speed on a treadmill. My long-term goal is like, I'm a 6-speed runner. To complete in the distant future, and it takes more time. That means that's something that's not super close, right? It takes a little more time, a little more patience because you have to wait. It's a longer goal. For example, like my long-term goal was to graduate college, right? That's 4 years. That's a long goal. Like I couldn't do that in a few weeks or months. Because it's something that we've talked about. It's like know your long-term goals, but focus and act on your short-term goals. So my long-term goal has been to finish college, but my short-term goal has been each semester. I've set goals for myself in each class, and those short-term goals help me accomplish my long-term goal of graduating college. Something else we kind of talked about. I'm going to go here because these are some good examples for fitness goals. So long-term goals for physical activity could be, we're going to focus on this one down here. So goal of doing 15 minutes of flexibility stretching a day for 3 months. That could be a longer term goal, and it's dependent on doing the right kind of activities and doing it correctly. So I like these examples because they're kind of telling us things that we have to do. I like to focus on the short-term goals now, and an example would be walking 30 minutes a day for the next 2 weeks, right? That's a total period of time. And underneath it says choose activities that you are familiar with that will help you reach your long-term goal. So if my long-term goal is that I'm going to be able to walk a really long hike, activities that I'm familiar with be walking 30 minutes each day for the next 2 weeks. SMART goals. And SMART goals are things that we can use for everything in and out of physical fitness when you're setting goals. SMART goals are specific. That means that they're about something very, it's not a grand goal. It's, for example, let me think of a good goal. Like in one of my classes, I am going to try to get all of my work done the day before it's due so that I have time to work on other things, right? Like that's my specific goal and I can measure that. That would be the M, to see when I'm getting my work in. And it's achievable because it's something that I think I can do. It's relevant, which means that it's relevant means that it has to do with what is going on. I think of another way to say that. Relevant would mean that it has something to do with what you're doing in your life. So this goal is going to be relevant to my life because I'm in college and I'm trying to graduate college, and it's timed. So timed is where it's important because my goal is going to be for how long the semester is. If I'm thinking of a physical fitness goal, a small goal would be that I want to work out 30 minutes twice a week for short-term goal. I'm going to say a month, right? So it's specific. I even got more specific. It would be I want to do cardio for 30 minutes twice a week, right? It's measurable, so I need to think of ways that I can track that. It's achievable, right? If I haven't been working out that much, 2 days a week, I think I could do that. 6 days or 7 days a week, might be really hard and might not be that achievable, but 2 days would. And it's relevant because it's something that I want to do in my life right now, right? It's a goal that has to do with my health. And it's right? I gave myself that month frame to work through. So what we are going to do today is we are going to pick a short-term fitness goal. It's not a work component of fitness using the chart that is on your worksheet. I've added up on here because it wouldn't all fit on one slide. You are going to work through this for 2 weeks. We're not going to use the fitness test we created to measure progress. I would like you guys to think about something in your own fitness that you could do And you can test that fitness at home or somewhere that you feel like comfortable that you can test your limit and what you want to work on. So, for example, my personal fitness goal, if I were filling this out, that I would like to achieve in the next 2 weeks would be I continue working on stretching. So, my goal would be in the next 2 weeks. I'm very close to it, right? So, it's achievable. It's touch my toes, right? And I know that I'm going to be able to do that because at home I've been practicing, and that's something that you could measure, right? And that might be more for you. But for me, I'm pretty close. And I think in the next 2 weeks, I could touch my toes, and what am I going to do to get there? So that would be the next part of filling out our worksheet. So specific, what do you want to achieve? I would fill in, I want to achieve touching my toes. How will you know that you've achieved it? I want you guys to try to be more specific here. I'll know I achieved it by being able to do so comfortably and not feeling an extreme amount of pain when I do it, right? That's the important thing with stretching. We're building up to it. Attainable is your very challenge, but still possible to achieve. This one's very important to remember, right? I can, I can, I'm going to be able to achieve my goal. If it were something like do the split, maybe in the next 2 weeks, that wouldn't be super attainable if I'm working on just touching my toes. Like, I don't want you, that might be a long term goal, right? That's something that down the road I want to be able to do. So I'm doing these short term goals to get there. Um, and their long term, their short term goal is like in the next 2 weeks, if I practice, I can get it. That's a great short term goal. But if they've never done those things and then they're saying, "Oh, I want my goal to be to do a backflip," that wouldn't be as attainable. Or if someone who's never run that much says, "You know what, my short term goal in 2 weeks is going to be run a half marathon or a marathon." That's not attainable, right? That's not something that you really would be able to do if you've never been if you haven't been practicing with realistic. So is your goal doable in the near future? Do you have the time, resources, and commitment to achieve the goal? So this is looking at, like, if you are someone who's in gymnastics and you're working on a short-term goal there, that's great. That's something that you could do in gymnastics. I want you to work on something that you could maybe practice at home or here when we're in gym class, because we're going to be giving us time to work on those goals in other spaces that you can do. But if I were really wanting to work on a backflip, um, a space like gymnastics to practice that if that were one of my other goals. But for this worksheet and what we're working on today and together, I want you guys to do it about something that we can do in class and work on in class together, right? It's realistic. And what was that word? Because this worksheet says realistic, but relevant. So relevant and realistic. So it's relevant to what we're doing in gym class, right? We're working on those smaller short-term goals. Complete. It should be complete 2 weeks from your pre-test date. So they're talking about pre-test. But what I want you guys to do is today, tonight. Okay, so when you get home tonight or tomorrow, so you're just going to write down that date and figure out what that goal is and mark 2 weeks from that date. And then we are going to reconvene on that date. So today, I believe 2 weeks from today is going to be just think about a smaller short-term goal. And if you follow these smart steps, it's really going to help you fill that out. And if it were me in my head, I know there's things I would love to be able to do splits. That's one of those long-term goals in my head I'm thinking about. And a small short-term goal is going to be able to help me and get there. And by yourself, I'm going to give you about 15, 20 minutes to think about the things that you want to do. And flexibility, or am I going to work on, my cardiovascular, like my running, is that something that I need to work on and look at home? Great, but that's something that you need to look at home before you fill this out. I do want this done by tomorrow. So if that's something that you need to do tonight, or you can come talk to me about how we could do that right now. If not, I want you to jot down ideas and things that you think you might be able to do. And then later tonight, um, look if that's works for you.